Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energies for today's Monday's Musings, a day before the Lionsgate portal at its peak, because obviously we all know that the Lionsgate portal started to open at the end of July, but on the 8th of the 8th, as with all portals, the energy is going to be reaching a crescendo up until the 12th of August when it starts to slow down in our perception. So one of the things I've been feeling over the last, since my birthday really, since I stepped into the vibration of 8, which we will all step into next year, ever since I stepped into the vibration of the Leo, of the Strength card in the Tarot and the Star frequency that we are all ultimately part of every given moment. When my awareness of that increased, when my physical embodiment of that increased, I've really noticed, even though everything around us is picking up, even though everything around us is shifting and, we may see it as vibrationally increasing, there's a real gentleness. There's a real open-hearted tenderness trying to come through, a real playfulness trying to come through. And when we talk about Leos, when we talk about the Lionsgate in particular, I always find it quite interesting that the rest of the portals aren't attributed really to an astrological sign, but the Lionsgate, we really, really bring in the story of Leo and our assumptions. Now, maybe that's drawn to my attention because I am a Leo, and this week really looking at where our focus goes is for a valid reason based on where we're at. Okay, so of course everybody talking about Leos and Lionsgate, of course that's going to initiate something within me in regards to how I feel I fit into the narrative, which again is going to be key this week. Whenever I hear about the Lionsgate, and I've joined in, I have joined in over the years because at that point it's been relevant, not just to the external circumstances, but to where I'm at. And again, that's really, really important always. Where are we at? What is being mirrored? Whenever I hear anything about the Lionsgate, there's always an emphasis on, the Leo is courageous and strong and brave and ready to roar and fight and stand for what they believe in. Absolutely, aren't we all? To an extent, aren't we all? Very rarely is the other side, not just of the lions, but of creativity, of life itself, celebrated. The gentility of a lion. How many times do we see our cats rolling in the sun just for the sake of it? The playfulness, the tenderness of an open heart, the pain that can come from an open heart, and the strength and courage that it takes to sit with that rather than lash out or act out. Now, obviously, I've been a Leo ever since I was born, and I can see as I look back certain stages of maturation in my own becoming of that. And yes, there is more to me than my astrological sign, but with the Lionsgate being the huge emphasis we're all going to see from, tomorrow particularly onwards, the reasons behind everything, because it will be used to be a reason or an explanation behind things. And it is undoubtedly, but we're really being encouraged to look beyond that as well and see what is opening up within us as a result, where we are perhaps being asked to open our heart to a different version, not only of ourselves, but of the world that we choose to see and the world that we choose to narrate as well. I have noticed throughout my years as a lion, as a lioness, my own maturation. I have noticed, and even to this day, different stages of that vibration within me. The fierce, the fighting, the running, the going after what I want, the courage that takes, the limelight, the being visible to everybody, but also the going within and the playfulness and the sensuality and the gentleness. That is what I am personally feeling for this Lionsgate, because it is based on where I am, but also collectively it feels like that is what I'm being asked to bring forth. So this week, really recognizing what is being, we call it triggered, but what is being opened within us is going to be a reflection not only of where we are, but what we are being asked to bring into the portal, through the portal, to help others to get through the portal, ourselves included. I know right now for myself personally, any forcefulness, any preconceived ideas of what a Leo is, what strength is, what courage is going to actually do the opposite and make me dig my heels in. So this week, really looking at what those unique identifications mean to you. When we look at the strength card, let's really look at the Leo energy, what we're actually being gifted these next few days by examining the cards in the tarot that represent it. The strength card, our divinity, our connection to patience. No one ever thinks of the lion or the strength card as patience, but look at when the lion hunts, how much time that takes to become one with the surroundings, almost invisible first, okay? To really go within to our own beat, our own rhythm, our own ability to go after what we need, what we want, what will sustain us. And again, that feels like one of the overall themes this week as we go into next year as well. What is going to provide us that more divine connection to who we are? Where can we find patience, gentility, perseverance, of course, but trust in ourselves, in the silence that many fight with the Leo or Lion or Strength card? There can be a real knee-jerk reaction to look at the Strength card in the tarot and assume that the goddess, the feminine, is silencing the Leo. There can also be the assumption that she is encouraging the Leo to speak up. Really, there is no difference whether we are being silenced and then feel oppressed enough to speak up, or whether we are being encouraged and supported to speak up and want to go within. There really is no difference. What matters is we connect to the feminine energy behind that will guide us to what we need. For some, it will be to speak up our needs. What I hear is our actions will speak louder than anything that we say. And for others, it will be to go within and discover what they are and allow our body to speak our needs. How can we figure out what we truly want if we're not open to the very vessel that has the whole supply and demand thing going on? If we're not open to our body, how can we actually figure out what that body needs and what that body wants? We can talk about not being heard. We can talk about longing to be seen, longing to express who we are. It starts at home, right? It starts with ourselves. That's really come up for me since my birthday. And I do feel that potential is there for those that wish to tap into that. And there's no judgment there if that's not for you, but that is what I'm bringing forth with the Lionsgate. The other thing today, I felt quite uncomfortable in showing my throat. I have a goiter, I've had one since childhood. And I felt quite uncomfortable and I wanted to get something to cover that up. And no matter what I tried, obviously it was still visible. This source of expression is still visible, no matter how much we try and cover it up. And that can really be pivotal this week when we think about whether or not we have to state what we want. It's visible. It's going to be visible in so many ways. And it's really important with the Lionsgate and with the energy this week to feel into all the senses. To really feel from the heart, to allow the heart to express, to allow the heart to be seen. Obviously, when we expose our neck, it's a very vulnerable area, right? Very vulnerable in regards to hunting and things like that, but also it's where our main blood vessels are that connect to our heart. It's our vagal nerve. It's also the space of when in my own practice of Huascar or our shadow. And obviously it's that I don't want to be seen, that imperfection, that flaw here. But it's that wants to be expressed. It's that wants to be visible this week. It's that wants to be held and loved and nurtured. Our shadow doesn't always mean our dark stuff. It can be those beautiful things that we've kept to one side until we are ready to share them with a deeper connection with ourselves as well. It may have taken time for us to be at a place where we are mature enough to witness, hold and embrace that sacredness of who we are. So there are a few things going on for myself this week which are going to affect the video that I share. Since well, since my own, since the reading last week, I was really guided to watch it back. And on the Tuesday, I'd actually said that this may hurt. And I did have quite a shock in my own life that had quite an impact. And ever since, I've had vertigo. I've been experiencing vertigo. Now, I'm a firm believer that the body speaks its messages. And yes, that was quite... It's changed my whole foundation, the news that I received with the full moon. And we may be feeling that our whole stability has changed. Who we are as a result, or who we are becoming, is shifting and changing. It's no coincidence I'm on the World card today. Yeah, who we are and who we are allowing ourselves to be seen as is shifting and changing. The vertigo for me is a real knowing to focus on one point, to move with intention, because if I move too fast, everything spins round and round and round. So to move with intention and to focus on one point at a time feels really pivotal this week. Now, this is my body and my body's messages. If it resonates with you, fantastic. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's really important to recognize that our body can give us exactly what is going on and the medicine required if we are, I don't want to say brave or courageous, open enough to listen to ourselves, which is really going to be key with the Lion's Gate. Really opening up to the wisdom that we are is going to be key. And that can be quite daunting when we allow ourselves to know that we're good enough, to allow ourselves to love ourselves as we are, to not need to change or shift or be better than or fix this, or, you know, that can be really quite profound. Doing so gently, providing an environment that will help you to do that. Balance is key. This week I've had a lot of releases and emotional upset as a result, and then I've also brought in things that help me restore. I'm looking at the Sword and the Grail to fill up my cup. So yes, we're tipping away. You know, it's still left over from that Aquarius full moon, the star card, yeah, and the energy that we go into next year as well. Yes, we go into the Leo, but we also go into the star vibration. So we're tipping away what we don't need, but we are making sure that we fill up with what we do. Really looking at what we replace that with, because energy doesn't die, it transforms and changes. So if we're leaving a space, an empty void, if we're not careful, we're going to fill that up with old programs and old conditions and go over and over it, you know, that spinning around of the room, the same cycle. So moving with intention. We don't have to do the knee-jerk reaction of chucking everything out. And, you know, immature lion energy, immature, and that's not in a downgrading way, but, you know, when we are in pain, we can act quite defensively, especially a lion, right? Think of a lion that's in pain, it's going to lash out. Okay, so really feeling into what is going on for us, slowly with intention, move and release. Keeping our eye on the focus of what it is we're trying to achieve and bringing that in gently, okay? You know, when you think of the heart brings in and the heart pumps out. And it's that continual movement, recognizing that what we let go of, we are making space for. Okay, it's that continual flow, that continual movement, that ebb and flow of the tides, right? That's what I really, really feel this week. It doesn't have to be forced. There was other things I was going to mention in regards to my body, but that feels like the main thing, you know, really being at one with the movements, doing so with presence and focus is going to be key. Doing our gentle best, obviously with a spinning head, that I need stillness. And I need less being more. One of the things we will probably hear, and it is an assumption on my part, and it is based on old stories, so it may be different, but especially with the Leo, is the lion's share. Rah! We need the lion's share, and that can often be perceived as more. this week we're being given a great opportunity to really sieve through what it is we actually want more of, and not to be surprised if that's ourselves. If we want more of ourselves, if we want more, not from ourselves, but of ourselves, more presence, more connection, more authenticity, more acceptance. And obviously, again, that starts with ourselves. If we find ourselves wanting more things externally, really looking at what they would bring for us. There's no judgment there. We all want and need physical things. We're all here in a physical life. But really looking at what is behind our desires. What is our heart truly saying? Going a bit deeper. Today's daily guidance, I looked outside and saw a fan. I was on the world card and I thought, that's good enough for a message. And what I really felt was how the fan reminded me of a fig leaf, covering up that nakedness of the lovers, covering up Adam and Eve, covering up the nakedness of the world card, covering up our desires, our sensuality, our sexuality, our connection, our root chakra to the earth. So what are we using to make do, to cover up our true desires? And that is going to be key this week. If we can stand in the nakedness, if we can stand in the rawness, not rawness, but rawness of it all, and feel the sensations, feel the different temperatures on our skin, feel the different food in our mouth, feel the different emotions, the human experience. If we can really open up to that this week, don't be surprised by the end of the weekend if things have taken a turn. Whether that's for the better or the worse will be up to us to decide, but really taking a turn. Okay, so with that in mind, I am going to keep the rest simple, because less isn't necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. One of the greatest things we speak of when we call up space is to take only that we require and release that we no longer need as part of the natural cycle of life. How can we make space for different things? Moon card. And completion. How can we make space from now until the next full moon? We have that blue moon. How can we make space for the things that we need if we're so full up of what we don't? Okay, so really looking at any similarities, the things that we want, have, and going deeper, going beyond that. Not even so we could say, right, we need a car, we need a home, we need this, this, and this. And the bigger message beyond that is security. And movement. That's what we actually need. So even going beyond that, going right beyond that, and really feeling into what you have discovered, how you feel about your own security, really taking responsibility for what it is you are calling in, and then what it is you are releasing as a result. Because not only will you release the things we don't want, you will release a side of you that is no longer applicable. One of my insecurities with the gentility that is coming through is I've always been a fighter. I've always been that Leo that is, going for what she believes in, fighting for other people, giving, the lion's share and share. And now coming into that vibration, for now, there's a part of me that wants to simplify things, to not give less, but give more by giving less, to really direct what I give on a more substantial connection. So there are going to be less posts on my Facebook. There are going to be less competitions and offers, because I want to keep this inclusive, everything I do inclusive. So it's just going to be on a unique basis. Okay, so it's going to be individually tailored. And the more we can come back, the more we can bring back where our energy has been, not misdirected, thinking this is what we offer, this is how we need to do it, and bring it back to this is who we are, it's going to naturally flow anyway. So I am going to simplify things, and that feels like key for me. But of course there's insecurity there. I've had beautifully a life where I want to give and give and give. I've had beautifully a life where I've fought for causes, and from midwifery to my family to, this wonderful, independent, strong, feminine energy that has run through my family line. And I'm not letting that go. what I'm doing is saying thank you, but it's no longer needed in that essence. Can I now use that for this, this, and this? And that's coming through in a more gentle way. And that's a new language to me, right? Well, not with everyone else, but definitely with myself. That's a new language to me that I haven't been ready to hear, but now I am. So there may feel some nervousness about the changes that want to come through, because it may feel like, oh, what do we do with this person that we've become? And it's not about letting them go. It's not about pushing them to one side, but bringing them home and perhaps giving them another job in a different way. Okay? Gentle strength. We can still be a fighter with gentle strength. Quite often more is said with less words. You know, that some of the times, and I'm noticing this with this, so I will get on with the reading in a moment. Yes, the 5 of fire, the stress. Some of the times when we don't realise where we're at, we can bring in different ways of explaining the same thing or utilising the same energy to form a transformative stage of our own initiation. But once we realise where we're at, less is more. We don't have to keep explaining, and we soon realise that the more we do, the more we water that down. The more we doubt, the more stress we cause, often unnecessarily. Real week of belief this week as well with the Lion's Gate, opening up to the belief of who we are and allowing that to come through us. You know, we talk about portals, we go through energy, but energy comes through us as well. We are the portal also. So allowing that energy that wants to come through, that energy that we want to actually come through us and embody us. You know, whether it's Reiki or angelic Reiki or healing or whatever, we are often, even the Moon Eye Key, we are attuned to the vibration that we are connecting to. This week is going to be no different. Whatever you are trying to bring in, attune yourself to it. When I do that, when I feel into that, actually my insecurities about the gentility, they're more excitement. They're more my cells coming alive with the potential of what that would feel like and how that would change what I offer. So really feeling into that this week. So I'm going to look at the cards. I'm going to do a brief reading because, yeah, my eyes are, because of the light. Okay, right. Energies this week and how to best navigate it. Yeah, Daughter of the Earth, Page of Pentacles. Find out, well, Knight of Pentacles. Find out what works for you. Find out who you are. Find out your connection here on the earth, and let the rest just unfold this week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 for Sunday, overall. Okay, when I look down and then look up, I feel really quite dizzy. So this week, by all means, look down. Look at your feet, look at where you are, look at the path that you're on, but don't spend too long looking down, because overall we do have the energy of the 5 of water or loss. Okay, we can often look at the path that we have walked and everything that has, you know, left us, but it's really, really important not to just focus on everything that is broken, but to look at what is actually ahead of us as a result. Okay, so we do have those, God, the whole screen went blurry then. Really, really looking at what we're focusing on. Really looking at what we're focusing on. And we have the moon in the background, in the space, in the stars, in that void potential. Really looking at where we are in our cycles. You know, do we need to keep bringing in things, or are we at this stage of letting go? Are we, you know, are we feeling what we're doing? If we're trying to create something and we haven't got the oomph behind it, that's kind of going against our own flow. So really finding our own cycles and our own flow this week is going to be key. Okay, and that may be that we find certain aspects are no longer relevant, even with ourselves. Okay, and to really look at where we're coming from. So I know that I could probably do a video in about 10 minutes. And for a long time I felt like maybe that wasn't enough, that I had more to give. Other times I felt like I wanted to connect deeper, and sometimes it is needed. Sometimes it isn't. Okay, so really looking at how we view loss. Is it a loss, or is it an opportunity to move forward to a deeper, more sacred union? Okay, this week overall. So on the Monday we have the Father of Water, and it's that flow that I'm talking about. Okay, allowing our actions to really, to to just, there's a stillness there. There is a stillness there to really look at what we're offering, to really look at what we've achieved, what we've already collected. See the fish here? What we've already collected. I'm seeing a few posts which are initiating a response in me that I need to really look at and have been looking at. And I'm looking at, again, at the Grail book. And it is to do with the masculine, and it is to do with the sacred masculine. I think Tanishka, the Moon Woman, has written a book called The Grail about the sacred masculine, and that's just come into my mind. So I'll find the link and I'll put it in the comments, maybe buy it for myself. But this week I'm seeing a lot of posts of people that have, for an example, picked a lot of blackberries and they're having to freeze them because they don't know what to do with them. They have so many. And that really causes a reaction in me, because I feel like, why pick them then? If you didn't need them, why pick them? There are birds out there that are going to need them. There's a high chance it's going to be quite a harsh winter with the amount of fruit that is evident at the moment. So really this week, an emphasis on looking at what you've collected. If you can look at what you've collected, then you can truly see what it is you actually need. Okay, and here on this picture in particular, you can see that he wears a shell around his neck, right by his heart space. Now, the shell in the Peruvian tradition is symbolic of Pachamama and the womb of the earth. And I'm just thinking of my own necklace, which is Mary Magdalene, right by the heart space. So really allowing the feminine to guide our flow, particularly on the Monday, but this week overall, to guide our actions. On the Tuesday, we have the daughter of air. So we have the father of water. And if we can allow ourselves to receive that more gentle, nurturing energy, our thoughts as a result are going to be from a much higher perspective. Okay, it is still, or we may still see it as a young energy. Dreams. We may daydream, and really, really embracing the opportunity to allow ourselves to do that on the Tuesday is going to be pivotal. To daydream, to think beyond what we know, to go truly into the unknown is going to be quite a venture on the Tuesday, because on the Wednesday we have our first and only major arcana, which makes sense. It's the Chariot, the spiritual warrior. I say that makes sense because I can really feel that energy, like backwards, forwards, rotating, spinning, recognizing that we are moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it feels like a bit of a backwards, forwards motion this week, like emotionally, really recognizing that that is part of becoming the chariot of our own potential. That is part of becoming the warrior, the spiritual warrior, the light bringer, whatever name you want to give it. Okay, so on the Tuesday, with the Lionsgate portal being open to daydream, being open to higher visions coming through, keeping our eyes shut to what is actually in front of us and feeling into our breath, into our connection with source and spirit. And on the Wednesday, it's that's going to help us really move through. Even though the portal is at its peak on the 8th, the opportunity to go through things doesn't come until the Wednesday. So it's almost like a, well, it is an initiation. That's what I feel. On the Tuesday, we are starting to really have our emotions and our mindset opened in order to move through, because it's that we're moving through. It's that we're being asked to change, to really look at how well we flow, whether or not we are taking from a balanced, more feminine creative space, how open our mind is, how influenced it is by our external environment, and the impact that that's having on our vision. It's that we're being asked to move through now. Okay, to take those changes, that death, that transformation, and to move on with it. So you can see in this card in particular, the by closing our eyes and breathing, by daydreaming, by meditating, by taking some stillness on the 8/8 portal, we are allowing that dream to fly. On the Wednesday, you see it in the background. We are allowing that higher perspective to be given wings, to dare to dream the dreams we dream. Okay, that new beginning of the space of the East. On the Thursday, we then have the daughter of fire. So we do have some more younger doing type energies here rather than the nurturing of the mother. However, at the beginning of the week, our actions are those that are very mature. And that is, if not where we're at, where we're going to get by the end of it. Because on the Thursday, we have the daughter of fire here. Thursday's a really, really good time to start to think about what it is you want to bring in. Not beforehand. Do not use the portal to bring in new energy. Get through the portal first. Get through the portal, yes, because the energy of the portal is going to be such a vibration that anything that is not to come through will not come through. But if you start bringing things in based on where you are before the portal, you are going to bring things in that perhaps may not be relevant once you get to the other side. Okay, so get through the portal first, then start to think about what you want to bring in on the Thursday. And use the elements. Yeah, so she's using fire here, and she's using air here, and she's smudging, she's cleansing, she's clearing. Use the elements, use our emotions to clear through that process, and recognize how our emotions will be doing that also. So when you ask for things to come in, if you're not in alignment with that, your emotions are going to show you. Yeah, so, this week, that real wobble for me has really initiated a need to focus and to make decisive, steady, not controlled but embodied moves, okay, in order to not feel as if I'm going around in circles. So whatever comes up on the Thursday is a wonderful opportunity to take into the Friday to help you start to feel where you're at. You might want to bring something in, but if you haven't got the willpower for that, really feeling into the body, maybe the body isn't ready, maybe emotionally you're not ready, and that's okay, but you need to recognize right, where you are actually at before you start to think about your own willpower. Are you prepared? What do you need to bring in? I just saw a sunflower when I closed my eyes. What is it you are growing into? What seeds of potential do you have right now in order to do that? Okay, now I really feel that in my right eye. I feel like it's twitching like a stress response on the Friday, really feeling into things that are causing a reaction within you, because there's medicine there to be had or not. So we're really feeling in and noticing whether or not there is this situation helping you? Is it causing more confusion? What is it doing for your willpower? Okay, so with everything that's happened last week, there is a real emphasis that I need to move. And I look out and I'm ready. I'm so ready to move forward. And then I look out my garden and I think, oh, it's so beautiful. I don't know if I want to move. So there's indecision there, right? Recognizing where there's that energetic indecision, it's not time to act. It's time to really feel in where you're at on the Friday. On the Saturday, we have the 9 of Cups. We have the truth that if we allow all these things to flow into place, if we actually feel our emotions and open to our emotions, all the nitty gritty, the great, the not so great, that, recognizing that it all fills up the cups of our own self-care, of our own sustainability, of our own connections here. We feed from it all, okay? If we can do that on the Saturday and really bathe in the truth of who we are, that's where the joy is. Not in the things, not in the purpose, not in the external things. They will all slot into place. But this week we're being given a really good opportunity to recognize our connection here by how well we flow, where our mind is at, how we move forward, and what it is we need to clear through. Okay? Because it's all affecting our willpower. It's all affecting our joy. On the Sunday, we have 2 cards. We have the 8 of Pentacles, or inner order, and the Son of Earth. We have harvest. Yeah, look at that. Look at that abundance. Ready there to be picked. Ready there to be selected. To be carried forward. Okay, not bad for a week that suggested it was all about loss. Recognizing everything that is happening this week is to restore balance. It is to restore harmony. It is to bring about some kind of order. Okay, now obviously the one thing that the Lionsgate does promote is sovereignty, authenticity. Yeah, authenticity. The most authentic thing, most sovereign thing we can do is to be who we are. Warts and all. Grit included, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, whatever you want to call it. But to be who we are this week is going to be the pivotal changing point, because all of the cards are minors or courts. So it's all down to us, guys. Yes, on the Wednesday, we do have the Chariot, the only major arcana, and it is a day after the portal. I'm just thinking it's my husband's birthday actually on the Wednesday. On the Wednesday, yes, we do have the Chariot. We do have a culmination of everything we have discovered this year, being the Chariot year, occurring on the 9th of August. We have this huge shift that has been occurring anyway, but we become more aware of it. And when we become aware of where we have changed, where things have moved on, then we can become into alignment and regain that order that is being offered to us this week, so that we can truly figure out who we are, what it is we need to carry on being who we are, and what it is we're going to offer as a result. Okay, so yes, we have the Chariot with that. We then have, I can't look down for too long, which I can't stress that enough. It's going to be key. Okay, if you're going to look down, do so from a point of focus. Yeah, Ace of Air underneath. If you're going to look down, do so to get the information that you need. Don't stay there for any longer than is needed or required. Recognizing reflection is a great thing. Reflection is wonderful, especially when it comes to intuitive actions, but it can actually hold us back as well. So really keeping that balance. I do believe I've sorted that. Just double checking, taking time. Okay, so we have one air card, which is the Daughter of Air, and there's a real beautiful way of seeing the feminine this week. There's a real new way of connecting our mindset to what that actually means to us, and it's not based on the external environment, this video included. It is internal. The feminine is who you feel you are and your connection. Okay, allowing that to rise, allowing that to guide you towards the dreams that you dare to dream. Yes, there are a lot of versions of her, and they're all true. They're all true, just like there's a lot of versions of us, and they're all true. And this week we're being given an opportunity to go beyond that and find our true essence, our true connection to what the feminine means to us. And it's really important that we do that from a mental mindset this week, because it's kind of interfering. Looking outside is kind of blurring the vision or making us go around in circles a little bit. So closing our eyes, connecting to a wing and a prayer. That's what I feel, connecting to that source within us all. That breath is going to be key, because it's that that's going to help us realize what we need to clear through. It's that that's going to help us realize what our prayers are actually asking for from us as well. And it's that that's going to help us regain the willpower. But it's going to take time. We're at the 2 of Wands here, the 2 of Fire here. Everything needs to slot into place, ourselves included. And to have compassion with that. The Lion's Gate, Leo, compassion, timing, patience, love. Love. Okay, to have love for ourselves. And where we are actually at is going to be key this week. Emotionally is the place of birth and creativity, because we have 3 water cards, but also physically our emotions and our physical actions are aligning this week. It may not feel like it, but if we can really, emphasis being feel, if we can really feel into what is going on and ensure that we balance that with some actions, then it won't seem as if it's the loss that we believe it to be. Okay, so we feel this, what do we need? Yeah, we feel this, what is being asked of us? We feel this, what action do I need to take, if any? And there may be none, but feeling itself is a physical action. And the sooner we can realize that, the more intuitive everything is going to be. Feeling itself is a physical action. It is the seed of all of our potential. So when we feel into what brings us joy, we will recognize areas where we may have lost that. And then as the Father of Water, as the nurturer of this, our actions can be based on what it is we need to take forward in order to remain sustained in our connections, to remain sustained in what brings us joy. Okay, this week, really, really important to almost keep loss at the center of it all, to almost keep the process of loss at the center of it all, to recognize that when we lose something, we're making space for something else. Did that actually bring us joy? What is being asked of us in our actions as a result? Because physically, It is about what we carry. Physically, it is about what we harvest based on how aligned we are to our own authentic self and our own place here on the earth. Okay, so I am going to pull one card overall for the energies this week. And I feel really tempted to link it to the Lion's Gate, and it isn't. It's like a speed bump. It's just another opportunity to take things slow, to pause and reflect. Okay, it is linked to the Grail. It is linked to the heart always. It is linked to love, how much love we have for ourselves and in turn each other. Always. Yes, Son of Water and the Sun card. Okay. Really seeing our own reflection in the world around us and the light that that brings. Opening up to that. Yes, with the portal, but every bloody day. Every bloody day. If we are going to really embrace the energy of the Lion's Gate, then the Lion's Gate asks us to open to who we are, who we always have been, and as a result, who we will always be becoming. Have the most incredible, expansive, love-filled, divine week, and take patience with yourself. Take care.